Hi, Kevin Henry, the Group Editorial Director for UBM Medica's Dental Division, and I'm on a Google Hangout today with Jayme Amos, who is the founder of HowToOpenADentalOffice.com. And Jayme, I'd love for you if you could just take a moment to kind of introduce yourself to our audience and talk a little bit about your background.
Sure. Yeah, Kevin, this is great. Thanks so much for having me on. We love sharing what we do. We love being able to help doctors step into private practice ownership. That's what we're really passionate about, specifically on startups. So we love showing doctors how any doctor can afford a startup and then walking them through how to become successful in startup practice ownership. So just so everybody knows, I have a podcast called the Ideal Practices Podcast. If you ever want to check that out, I'm the CEO of the Ideal Practices Group, where we have our private high-end consulting division. And then we also have our white label or white paper website at howtoopenadentaloffice.com. There's hundreds of articles that you can check out there. Lots of good content that you can use for free. A lot of doctors ask me, Jayme, if you're not a dentist, how in the world are you guys creating these big success stories? And I'll share a couple of really neat ones with you in a minute. Well, the answer is partially, I was a boards patient. I'm not a dentist, but I was a boards patient. My undergrad roommate, he became a dentist, and he asked me after I had sold my first business, had a pretty successful run with a startup company right out of undergrad. My roommate said, "Hey, Jayme, you know, I became a dentist. I'm actually just about to be finished. Have you ever heard of a boards patient?" I said, "No, what's that?" He said, "You should be one." I said, "Okay, I've got extra time on my hands. I sold my business. Sure. What can I do to help?" So I didn't realize what a big deal it was. And I'll leave my poor friend, I'll leave his last name nameless, because I was 45 minutes late and Joe failed. So my embarrassing admission to all of dentistry is my first step in was realizing what a big deal this was and how much effort and emotion and drive and determination it takes to become a dentist in the first place. And now, after 10 years of working with docs, it's been wonderful to see how good-natured and high integrity and well-meaning and caring dentists are across the country. So you know, with all of my real estate ownership background and my small business success background, we've parlayed that over the last 10 years into processes that are dependable, repeatable, predictable for startup practices. So we have a best-selling book called Choosing the Right Practice Location, and I have something neat for the DPR audience that I'd love to be able to share. And I've got some other neat things that I'd love to be able to talk about too. So that's kind of where we start. That's where we are.
Well, and you know, you talk about all your experience and everything else, and you know, I'd love to just pick your brain a little bit about what is the biggest mistake that you see some dentists making whenever they enter into this arena.
Yeah, I'd love to say that there was one biggest mistake. The biggest negative outcome is it ends up being doctors who either A, need to work a part-time job indefinitely after investing all this money and time and energy into opening a startup. And that's my version of failure. I determined that if people are still needing a part-time job after their first year in startup practice ownership, that's a failure. It doesn't need to be that way. The second version of failure is actually the true definition of failure, and there are startup practices who fail or go bankrupt. But to be very clear, we like to point out that there is a path for any doctor to do this successfully. There's so let me show you this. This is one of the things that I wanted to share with your audience. Can you guys see this okay? This is our best-selling book called Choosing the Right Practice Location. I'm not here to sell a book. I'm actually here to give you a book, if that's okay. It sells really well on Amazon every month. You know, for $67, you can go buy a copy. It's packed full of really good information to choose the right location, specifically to dentistry, very specific to dental practices in today's economy. You know, with change patient perception, the impact of location on any practice, let alone a startup, it's imperative you get it right. So if I could, Kevin, do you mind if I kind of offer out a way to get this for free?
Absolutely, go ahead.
So if you guys are interested, as kind of a thank you to the audience here that we're able to share so well with, we love doing this. Right now, if you go to howtoopenadentaloffice.com/free, we set up a free page here. I'd ask that you help me offset the cost of shipping and handling, you know, a couple bucks to make sure I don't lose my shirt. But you'll know that it's a free copy. There's no strings attached. I hope you'll be able to use it and put it into practice, so to speak, so that you can create success on your own terms. So that's one exciting thing that is a real linchpin in the process. You know, the linchpin in a grenade. If the linchpin can hold the grenade together, but if you don't have the right linchpin, the whole thing can explode.
And I know that you know, you've got the book, you've got such amazing resources, and I know one of the resources that you have is an upcoming webcast webinar that you wanted to share with our viewers as well.
Yeah. So though our high-level consulting services are not inexpensive, we like giving away a lot of free information that people can use. If you'd like to check out some of the process and some of the methodologies, there's a website that we set up where we have some webinars going this week. So with 100% free tuition to this web class, you can go to idealpractices.com/tuition, implying the tuition is free. So it's idealpractices.com/tuition. And I'd encourage you to go there and find out how this can work. So a couple things you'll learn in there is how any doctor can afford this. You'll learn some of the location strategy techniques, and you'll also learn some things about how a process we call getting to 100 new patients on opening day. So for a startup, it's crucial. It is crucial that your first couple months in ownership are highly successful. Because if you miss those first couple of months, if you have paltry new patient flow in those first couple of months, imagine what happens in your hygiene recare system. If those first few months are really bad, and then you fast forward 6 months, those next 6 months are going to be really bad too, right? Just because of the nature of a recall system. So it's really important that we focus all of our energies for nearly a year. We could show you how this is done, but for nearly a year, we focus all of our energies and drive them down a tunnel called getting to 100 new patients on opening day. So we have some really cool success stories. Actually, Kevin, if you think there might be time, do you mind if I share an interesting success story?
Go right ahead. That's fine.
Okay, great. So here's a real recent one from the East Coast. One of our clients recently just opened up his practice. He's now not only a practice owner, but he's a real estate owner. So we help some doctors learn how to purchase real estate for their startup with no money out of pocket, but we'll save that for another day. So there's that process, which is pretty exciting, which he implemented. But then on top of that, this 100 new patients on opening day for him looked like this. I texted him about 3 weeks after he opened, and I said, hey, Doc, what do you think? How's the first 3 weeks going? You know, even though we technically ended at a grand opening day, I was checking in with the guy, seeing how he's doing. He said, pretty great. I'm excited because we have 140 new patients. I said, that's great. Congratulations. I'm so excited for you. Can I share this? So I shared it with some of the folks on our email list. And I sent that out. And he texted me the next day and he said, hey, Jayme, thanks for sharing that and inspiring people. I'm glad I can play a part, but it's actually not completely true. And I thought, oh no, that's the worst. That's my biggest fear, is that I tell people something that's not an actual truth in the story. He said, wink, wink, we're actually at 183 patients now. So then he texted me one more time at 5:23 the very next day, which was his 4th week in business. And his text message said something like, I distinctly remember the time, I don't remember verbatim what it said, we're now at 4 weeks and I'm right about to cut my first round of payroll. So he hasn't cut any payroll checks. And we just hit 200 patients. And for me, you know, that melts me. When I hear about a doctor who's kind of trusted us to move forward along this long journey together, now owns the real estate, now is a successful practice owner, and he's got more new patients in the first 4 weeks than most practices see in a year. So this is the stuff that we get really excited about, and I hope some of these free resources will inspire some people.
And another free resource that Jayme has worked on, and I will say it's one of the most in-depth articles we've ever posted online. But you can find it on the Modern Dental Network through Dental Products Report and Dental Practice Management. And Jayme in this article really details a lot of the steps needed to open a successful dental practice. So you can search for his name, Jayme Amos, and that will be able to come up. We will also have a link at the bottom of this video that will show you how to find that article on our website as well. So Jayme, just real quick, would you mind just letting our viewers know how to get a hold of you if they want more information or find out more about what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Kevin. So the best few channels, number one would be here. Go to howtoopenadentaloffice.com, get a copy, free copy. Howtoopenadentaloffice.com/free. and get that free copy of the book. The second way is listen to the podcast at idealpractices.com. You can listen to our podcast. That's completely free also. And then the third one is go check out the webinar, and you can get a little closer to us there at idealpractices.com/tuition.
Jayme, as always, a wealth of information. I appreciate your time, and and thanks so much for helping our viewers achieve their dreams. We appreciate that.
It's a huge honor. Thank you for having me, Kevin.